Okay, this will be 6.6 trig of right triangles. This will be day 2. In day 2, what you're going to see is a little bit more of solving right triangles for any of its missing parts. It could be angles, it could be sides. So we're going to solve, I think we'll do 2 problems and we'll get some practice today in class. So make sure graphing calculators, let's get those out and let's get started. Okay, so example 2. I ask you to solve the triangle shown in the figure. So it looks like we're going to have to figure out what angle B is, what side B is, and what side C is. So I gave you a box down at the bottom there. You can obviously tell angle A, well, that one's given, that's 30 degrees. Angle B, well, I know that's got to be 60 degrees, right? All 3 angles of a triangle have to be 180 degrees. So that means angle C has to be 90 degrees. Sides, I know side A is 17.9. Remember that this side is always opposite its angle. Okay, so I knew that that had to be A. We don't know what B are, and we don't know what C is. We don't know what B is, we don't know what C is as well. So you have options. You don't necessarily have to solve for angle B or side B. You don't have to solve for side C. You can do them in any order that you want. You're going to get the same answers no matter how you do them. It's totally up to you. You're going to have many options. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to solve for side B first, and I'm going to use the angle that I'm given. So in terms of the angle that I'm given, which is 30 degrees, I'm going to use, obviously, the side that I know, which is 17.9, and I'm going to solve for side B. So notice that I have opposite and adjacent. Which trig identity uses opposite and adjacent? Well, you should be saying to yourself that the tangent does. So the tangent of theta, well, I know theta is 30 degrees, so the tangent of 30 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. Okay, so think about what we did. We're going to cross multiply to solve for B. So when we do our cross multiplication, we'll get B times the tangent of 30 is equal to 17.9. I know to solve for B, I simply divide by the tangent of 30. And when I divide by the tangent of 30, I get 17.9 divided by the tangent of 30. I get B is 31. Now remember, sides are usually to 2 decimal places, but I think when you see you do this in your calculator, it turns out that those 2 decimal places are going to be 0, 0. Okay, so B is 31. Be careful. If you're not getting 31 and you're probably thinking to yourself, what the heck? Why am I not getting 31? Well, here's the bad news. You have to make sure your calculator is in the right mode. If my angles are in degrees, my calculator needs to be in degrees. If my angles are in radians, like pi over 2, pi by 3, pi by 4, then your calculator needs to be in radians. How do you double check that? Hit the mode button on your calculator. You should see radians and degrees. In this case, degrees needs to be highlighted, so go down there, hit enter if it's not. Go back, now try this again. You should get 31 degrees, or 31 as your side. So to figure out side C, I can do this multiple ways. I know I could use the Pythagorean theorem, because I now have A and B, or I could use another trig identity. It's faster for me to use another trig identity, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase my triangle. And now I'm going to look at, in terms of the angle that I know, I'm going to use the side that I know, and I'm going to find the side that I want. So now, in terms of this triangle, I have opposite and hypotenuse. Which trig identity uses opposite and hypotenuse? You should be saying to yourself that, well, the sine uses opposite over hypotenuse. So the sine of 30 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. Do your cross multiplication again. You get C is 35.80, so I just wrote 35.8. And voila, you have just solved for one complete triangle. Let's do one more. My advice, probably should pause the video here, try it on your own, right? It's a checkpoint. See what you can do on your own, challenge yourself, and then once you're done, watch the video and see how you did. So, here are the three unknowns. First of all, I know that B has to be 45 degrees. Angle B has to be 45 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out side A. So I have opposite and hypotenuse. I know the sign uses opposite over hypotenuse, so when I do my cross multiplication, I get 7.07. Well, I'm done. I don't need to figure out what side B is. I already know what it is, but for those of you that did a little bit extra work, let me tell you how I knew I was done. Think. If the angle I was given was 45 degrees, and the angle that I found was also 45 degrees. Think, if these angles are the same, that means that their sides must also be the same, and therefore I don't need to do any work. I already know that side B should be 7.07. If you did extra work, you still got 7.07, so no big deal. It's just you did a little bit extra work. Okay, so hopefully getting some practice with those triangles. Hopefully it's getting a little bit better. We'll get some practice in class today, and good job.